Do-it-yourself Dell here, and this effort's going to be about a few miscellaneous items. And the first one, I wanted to show people that normally this wasn't in use. This is the electricity that goes over in that direction, and this is the front porch light. The front porch light, this because of lack of insulation, a lot of cold air came through here, so I had it pretty much, this stays on all the time, and I had it pretty much duct taped to hold out the cold air. So what I wanted to show you was that I put in a new switch and a new cover. The new cover had to be, I think it fit right in there, but even if I might have had to trim it a little bit, but now everything works nice and easy. And we're going to be moving over towards the 100 amp service, and I'll show you that when you do things like this, it's necessary to check out your breaker and turn it off. And inside the box, normally people have a list, and it'll say, well, where it's from. It'll say like front porch light or something, and it'll list all the things that are on that circuit, so you know which one to turn off. If you have inquisitive people in your household that stick their nose in everything, it might be useful to make a note and tape the note on, I'm working on such and such. Say this, please leave it off, and maybe even tag on the breaker where you got it off, so they don't go throwing it back on while you're working on it. It's just a safety feature. It's an extra safety feature. So let's move on. Dell here again, continuing our journey of little electrical items that have been repaired and updated, and this particular outlet here was not in use for quite a long time, and I kind of was reluctant to do it because dealing with electricity and everything is kind of a deal killer for some people. But at any rate, it amounts to the same thing, going to the 100 amp service and opening up the door to the breaker box, which will be there momentarily, and turning off the particular breaker. And again, it'll say bedroom or whatever is on that particular surface. And when you do turn it off, there's no law that you can't come around with, say, a little item that you plug in and test to see if it is. And they also make tools that way. You can stick them in the prongs, can go in the outlet to see. So in this case, I replaced this with a new outlet and a new plate. And the job itself, when I finally decided to do it, did not take long at all. It takes a little bit of know-how with a pliers and a screwdriver. But the old style is that you hook the receptacle itself has kind of posts on two different places, and there's a screw in there to tighten it. So the wires themselves that come out, you got a hot, which is black, and a white, which is neutral, and a green, which is if you want to ground it. So you hook your hot to the new receptacle. You tighten it up with the screwdriver. Same thing with the neutral. You push all the wires, push it all in place, and if there's a ground wire, take care of that as well. And you get that all in there, and then you can put your plate on, and the plate has a little slotted screw. It's one of the smaller ones, and you can just tighten that up a little bit, and away you go. Go back to the breaker box, turn your breaker back on, and voila, you got yourself a working outlet again. And you don't have to call somebody else to do it. So let's move on. Dal here. We're continuing our journey as to electrical items that have been repaired, and I referred to the electrical box at the 100 amp service, which is what we're looking at here. These are breakers, and here's the list of what the different ones is. So, for example, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that the previous one we looked at, replacing that receptacle, would have been here. So I would have just flipped this switch off, and like I say, you could have maybe hung a little note on, like a tag with a little string or something, and said, "Don't turn this back on under pain of," and then put a skull and crossbones underneath it, and so nobody knows it. They know enough not to fool with it. So that's that. And where was the other one? Was in the front porch light. Let's see if we have that. Back hall, surge protectors, bedrooms, refridge, range, backlight. Doesn't. There it is. So that would have been here. That would have been this one down here for that front light. This would have been turned off while you're working on it and replacing items or whatever you're doing. And so it's just a basic thing, but some people don't know this and they're not comfortable with it. But it makes life easy, and you don't have to call an electrician for little things like that. If you're not comfortable with it, get somebody in that knows what they're doing. But in my case, I was kind of not real eager to go fooling with it. And now, if I had to do it over again, even though I don't, because those items are fixed pretty much for good, I wouldn't hesitate to get involved in that. So that's this. And then also, this was installed by a local electrician. And again, it's one of those items that the price of it versus the convenience, you have to weigh that out and see. But what this does, if there's sometimes the electric company delivers surges, they call them, and it's more electricity than what you bargained for. And if you have delicate electronic equipment, let me rephrase that, expensive delicate electronic equipment, and say you have a whole bunch of it, it might be cheaper to have one of these than to have things burn out or become necessary for it to be repaired or replaced. It's, I suppose, insurance, and so that's that. So let's, are we through with electricity now? Okay, so there's a couple items involved with electricity and just basic household electricity, easy repairs. And again, it might be something that you feel comfortable with after you're watching me and talking about my experiences of fixing things, especially after being hesitant to do so for quite a while. And then once I found how easy it is, if you're handy with, say, a screwdriver and a pliers, sometimes you might have to bend the wires a little bit and fit them on, and then you do it with the screwdriver, and it might be awkward position. It won't be standing up. You might be on the floor or on your knees or an awkward place within. You have to supply your own light so you can see what you're doing. And on a previous video, we showed you those rechargeable bulbs. Those would come in ideal. You could just put one wherever you need it. You could see what you're doing. Anyway, that's electricity. Let's move on to something else. Adios.